getting things done. Because, oh boy, we got a lot of rats to paint tonight. Well, paint and build, technically, but who's keeping score? And who's keeping track? I probably should, but I am not. I need to get these things away from me, they're too addictive. Okay. Where did I put that paint? Probably gonna be saying that a couple of times tonight, aren't I? Did I throw that paint somewhere I shouldn't have? I thought I had it. Oh, is it? Yep, there it is. Okay. Found it. Alright. Is the glue on this okay? I really haven't checked. Okay. So, yeah, I kitbashed this guy a little bit because I decided that, you know, it'd be funny having bells upon bells on my one banner guy. So I stole a bunch of banners and bells off of every model kit I could, snipped them off. And so I could have the bell around his neck, bell in the hands, bells up here. Included this at the top because I had more space so I could clip off bells from this little gong that I turned into a shield, and threw the extra bells up there. Because I figured if I'm going to do bells for the rats, I gotta go all out, man. I gotta have the bells upon bells. And I also kind of like how the banner turned out, honestly. I was a little surprised, but so far it's good. Of course, the issue is that he's a little front heavy, so I gotta get that based. That is gonna take a little bit. However, before I do all that, I want to actually finish painting up some of the Warplock Jazales I have, just because I've got a couple of rats on guns, and I need to have those guns painted up and ready soon. Because if not, I am going to be in some trouble. But how's everybody been today? Everybody going good? Okay. Also need to readjust this light. Hello, how's it going? Thank you. I'm trying to work towards getting them to be more uniform with this group. However, it's going to take a little bit. Hey, Fast, how's it going? Yeah, this is the first bunch of guys I got. I'm just trying to get this one caught up so that way I can start working on the details together. But I've been having a lot of fun so far. Thank you, thank you. I want to do my rat boys justice. So I need to get a different brush because I am not getting in there as well as I need to. Yeah, the rat boys are coming along. So far, this is the first box I opened up and started with, and I've been having fun. I just need to change and get a little bit more painted and I'm done with them. And then I bought a box of the Plague Monks, because I kind of just wanted to make a banner with as many bells as possible. And the best part is, he just has a bell around his neck and also bells in his hand. So I need to get this guy based so I can start painting him up later. But so far, just trying to get these guys set up. Because recently I've been using them in my D&D campaign, because I'm running a Wild West campaign for my players. And I just thought it'd be funny to have a bunch of rats with guns attack them. And now they're committed to it, so I gotta finish painting up a whole Skaven army so they can take that on. Thank you, Fez, thank you. Trying to do my best. I'm still pretty new to painting because I only started painting this year, so hoping to make it look good, but you know, there's only so much you can do when you're still learning. I still gotta make a lot of mistakes before I get real good. Hey dude, how's it going? Hello, hello, how you guys doing today? Is that... I'm just gonna say Nov if that's alright. But how are you guys doing today? Everything good? Huh? Good to see, good to see. Thank you, thank you. Trying to do my best to try to get this guy painted up and to make him look good. I've been experimenting a little bit on this mini. Like, for the metal here, I was experimenting a little bit. It's a little hard to see with how strong the light is, but I basically did one coat of the gold, a coat of the silver to get the highlights on top, and then I thin layer of the gold on top of it. And I think it worked good for a reflection on it. But, of course, it takes a little while to get everything painted up right. And this is the mini that I've got furthest along, because the other one looks like this. So, still working on these guys bit by bit. But I've been having a lot of fun. Though, as I was saying earlier, I gotta get this guy based because I really want to paint this guy. Bells upon bells on the one little banner he has. And I'm very excited to use these guys against my D&D party. But bit by bit, just gotta get it done. So I am building them. Basically, I just cut them out of these little things and then I glue them together and then I just build them. And then after that, I get them on bases, prime them, and then I paint them myself. But for example, this guy was a lot of clipping because this model does not come with this many bells. However, I just thought it'd be funny to add bells upon bells. Like, these two bells up here aren't actually supposed to be on the banner. They're originally just right down here on this part of the thing, so I just cut them off and gave them to him. Hey Fiker, how's it going? Right now, I'm just trying to get some details thrown on because I was experimenting with getting the rats to have a different color. Because originally I wanted to do brown, but I only had one brown paint and it didn't work. So I made these rats black. But these ones, now that I have a few more paints, I'm starting to experiment a little bit and just... I liked how the top turned out, so I'm getting the rest done. I'm doing alright. The day's been a little weird, but overall, pretty good. Just trying to relax and get some of my minis painted up because I don't have a lot of time tomorrow. I'm going to a barn dance. And so, if I want to get any painting done before Sunday rolls around, I gotta get it done now. So, in a bit of a rush, but I can't be too rushed or else I'm actually going to paint something I don't want to paint. But you know how that song and dance goes. Just bit by bit. Hopefully I don't do anything that I end up regretting. Oh shoot, that's exciting. Graduation parties are always fun. At least I hope they are, I don't know. I technically graduated, but I didn't have a graduation ceremony or party, so I don't really know how those go, to be honest. And yeah, barn dance, I don't know. I got a notice that, like, an hour, 40 minutes north of where I'm from, they're having a barn dance, and we got invited. And so I got a carpool together so I can go, because if there's any place where I can probably practice West Coast swing dance, it's going to be at a barn dance. So I'm hoping it all goes well. But because of that, I don't have a lot of time to do painting tomorrow. Because by the time I get home, it's probably going to be about 1 in the morning. And I got to wake up early so I can make it to some church meetings. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited, but I'm definitely not sleeping this weekend, that's for sure. But it's like I say quite frequently, sleep is for those who can afford it, and I am poor. Okay. Gonna set these guys down for a second because I need to make up a new batch for that. For the wood color. Gonna be just a few seconds. I'm also gonna munch on some jelly sticks that I got. But yeah, that's basically all I got going on. How about you guys, though? Fiker's going to a graduation party. Everybody else? How y'all doing? Anything exciting going on? Yeah, fair enough. I'll be honest, I have not kept up with The Simpsons. I used to watch it a lot when I was younger, but I really haven't watched them in recent years. Mix of the white, throw that brown in there. Okay. Let's try... use this brush. Technically graduated, but according to my school, because I got a scholarship, I was not allowed to go to the graduation ceremony. But I'm currently a junior at Pennsylvania State College. Oh, shoot, okay. No, that's fair. It's like a 25-year-old episode with NSYNC. Ah. Haven't watched in 20 years. Ah, okay. Yeah. When it comes to graduation, I was basically set to graduate back in my junior year of high school because I never finished college. I needed to go back and actually finish it, but ran out of cash at the time. But back in high school, I was 1 credit away from being able to graduate. My student counseling, academics resource counselor, I don't know. It was the same person for the entire school. She pointed it out and said, hey, if you want, we could have you just take an extra class and then you can graduate a year early. I was excited. I definitely wanted to do that. So my family and I got started working on getting that done. Then the principal put his foot down and said, hey, we haven't let anybody graduate early ever at the school, and we're not going to start doing that now. The thing is, this is a private school, and so they wanted me to spend another $10,000 for 1 credit. Of course, my mother was not happy with this bait and switch, and so I just got my GED and left before I finished my junior year of high school. I started doing college classes, started going to work full-time, and yeah. Hey James, how's it going? But yeah, that's basically kind of what happened for me when it comes to graduations. So technically I finished high school. I just never was allowed to go to the graduation ceremony because I got my GED through the local community college. What I wish I knew ahead of time is that colleges really hate GEDs. So higher education has not been my friend. I'm not against it, but they don't like me. Oh, I'm doing good, James. Just feeling a little rushed because I got a bunch of stuff I gotta get done. Trying to get these guys painted up because for D&D, my party is starting to head off to fight more rat folk. So I want to get these minis painted up so I can use them against my party. And I also need to buy some others. But I only got today to paint because tomorrow I'm going to a barn dance. And so I have to get these guys painted and ready for Sunday if I want to use them. I'll still use them even if they're not painted, but it's cooler if they are painted, you know? So, just trying to rush to get these guys mostly figured out as best I can. So that way I can just carpool tomorrow, not have to worry about it. And then on Sunday I can try and kill maybe one of my party members. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. Most likely I'm not killing anyone because I may or may not have made them a little too powerful. In my defense, that's just how the dice rolled. And so I'm just rolling with it. And that is my get out of jail free card for the fact that my party is just a little broken. However, in their defense, I am a cruel DM who uses the AC ratings from 3rd edition rather than 5th edition because 3rd edition, it was actually hard to hit things. 5th edition is way too easy to hit monsters, and I do not like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's carefully. Yeah, for the most part, got that pigment right. Okay. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm up to right now. But spent a little bit of time with my family. Ended up talking with a friend a little while earlier today. And it surprised me because he normally doesn't ask me questions about religion, and he started asking me questions about my own religion. So we ended up going back and forth for a little bit, which, you know, I don't mind talking about it, but it definitely caught me off guard because he normally doesn't ask me any of these questions. But yeah, we ended up getting to a bit of a, I would say discussion, but it definitely felt a bit like a debate at times, and I was not expecting that. But honestly, with how crazy work has been this week, I probably shouldn't even be surprised that things keep going off the rails. Ah, okay. That's exciting. Oh, shoot, okay. Somehow that does not surprise me, Fiker. With my experience with school and a few other people's, I'm not entirely surprised that's how it turned out. Granted, I've been of the opinion that school hates a lot of students for the most part, so I'm probably very biased against schools in general. I'm just gonna throw paint on this gun because I was struggling to actually get it properly coated, so I'm just gonna get a layer on here and then I'll just go back over with the gold later, so that'll be a bit more even. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely wanted to try for higher education, but things just kept popping up, and it just never worked out for me. Not that I didn't want to, but I felt like I kept getting kicked in the teeth every time I tried, you know? Hey, Ronnie. DreamWorks movie. Hmm. I'm trying to think right now. If I had to go off of DreamWorks, I guess probably Shrek 2, because I think that's the DreamWorks movie I've seen the most, and that's the one I watch the most often. I don't really. It's not that I don't watch DreamWorks, I just don't watch them that often. That I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I've seen Flushed Away. It's not my favorite of the Aardman films, because I like Aardman a lot, but it's good. I just haven't seen it for a couple of years. Mostly because I just don't own it, so I just haven't been able to watch it for a while. And I refuse to pay for a streaming service. If I want to watch a movie, I will pirate it. Because I refuse to get stuck and sucked into cable by paying for 5 different streaming services to watch one thing. I mean, you're ahead of the game as far as I'm concerned, Viker. I'm 25 and single, so... I just get by. Oh, I was January of 2000. Okay. Need to clean off my brush and I can get started on the next paint. All right, take care, Fiker. Hope you have a good night. How mean am I as a DM? I'm mean for D&D by... I like to make things difficult for my party. And so I will plan things out and I will just let them skip. Like if they're not paying attention, they'll just miss out on something and then it'll come to bite them in the ass if they don't pay attention. So certain things can be happening in the background. I keep track of it on an in-game calendar that I keep. And I just make sure that if my party's not paying attention, certain things will pay attention for them. But whenever my party asks for, hey, can I find a magic item in a shop? I roll a d100 to check the probability of it being there. And if it's high enough, I'll just say, yeah, somehow they have it. So when it comes to loot, I let my party kind of ask for anything they want, and I just roll to see if it's actually going to be there in the shop. Personally, I have a lot of fun with it because sometimes that means they get items I never expected, and other times they get items that just shake things up enough. That's a lot more fun. So I encourage it. But to counteract it, I use creatures that kind of do not so much damage as they just mess with people by being around them. So that way, if my party's working together in combat, things will work out, but if they're not, then things will probably not go their way. Like, one of my favorite things to use is I threw out the Jabberwock from Alice in Wonderland. The Jabberwock, for the stat sheet I found, has this little ability called Burble, where if you're within like 30 feet of it, his incessant, like, schizophrenic talking to himself can drive you crazy. So if you fail the charisma save, you either lose a turn, attack the nearest thing around you, or you just injure yourself. So he's not necessarily that strong, but by making it so that the party had to work together because not everybody was able to actually attack, meant I got some good shots in on them. So I have a lot of fun with it. As a DM, I try to make the combat interesting by making them realize, oh, if I don't pay attention to the world I'm in, I could fight something I'm not prepared to and lose. And that's kind of where I lie with my encounters. I kind of like to mess with my party more than I like to do straight up combat. Because if it's all straight up combat, it's just not as fun for me. I mean, it's not terrible, no. But it's definitely not ideal for some people. Because when the dice decide, and they are not kind. However, another enemy that I threw at my party that I really enjoyed was the non-Newtonian slime, because that one was just funny. I don't know if you guys have used this or seen this, but the non-Newtonian slime just works on the non-Newtonian liquid. So the physics behind it is the harder you hit it, the harder it toughens up. But if you just carefully pass through it softly, you can just go right through it, no problem. And so what I did is I had a bunch of slimes that were made of this, so I inverted its AC with what the party did. So if the party rolled a 20, that was a critical fail because they smacked it so hard that their weapon flung out of their hand from directly smacking the slime. So I get up to some shenanigans when I get to DM. Oh yeah. That was kind of one of my favorite things, because I trapped them in a hallway with them, so they couldn't just run away. They had to figure out the puzzle. But again, I like to make my party think. I want them to engage with the world, so I give them clues that there are creatures like that they're about to fight. It just depends on, are they paying attention? Because if they're not paying attention, then oops, that's a problem. So I have a lot of fun with it. I will always set up the next encounter. If they pay attention or not, that is up to them. Another creature I like throwing at low-level parties is a group of cockatrices. And I need to finish actually painting that mini because I have it. Now that I got a decent selection of browns, I might be able to do it. Basically, for those who are unaware of what a cockatrice is, it's a chicken dragon that upon hitting you has a chance to petrify you. So you better kill them quick, because there's 5 of them, and it takes 3 hits to fully petrify a person. Beware the dragon chicken. Hello, sorry I'm back. Something came up, had to hop off for a minute. But yeah, I don't know. When it comes to D&D, I like to have creatures that are not just pure combat, but actually have status effects. Because I don't like the D&D players who only do combat and never roleplay. Like, half the fun with D&D is the fact that you created a character, so how's that character reacting to this scenario? What's the point of making a character if your character does nothing except fight in combat? You know? To me, that's just boring. If we're gonna have a character that you build, you gotta build it with something that makes it fun to play. One of the first characters I created was a goblin artificer that was an alchemist. I joined that campaign late, and when I joined it late, the DM had one request when I joined. He goes, okay, so they're in another plane of existence, so they're not on the normal plane. I'm going to say that your character's been here for a while. Would you be willing to play that character with schizophrenia? Immediately, I said yes, because I thought that was hilarious. And so Toulouse was the goblin alchemist, and he always spoke in third person, because he went crazy being by himself for so long without finding anybody that he started talking to himself. And so I had a lot of fun just always talking in the third person to show not only how crazy I was, but I got along great and also not so great with the party tank that was a rogue. Yeah, we had a rogue as a tank. That was a not well-balanced party, but it was funny because the rogue was incessantly paranoid. But I remember I liked that campaign a lot. We had a lot of good roleplay moments. And so, when I play D&D, I like to build a world whenever I DM, so that my party has things to investigate and go through. I will create maps, I will create an entire town and fill it with people with side quests. So that way, when the time comes, my party can explore a little bit and go, oh, I talked to this person and I happened upon, yeah, we have a problem. We need to go resolve this issue. I try to build it as much as an RPG as I can, and I have a lot of fun with it. I think it works all right, but, you know, it all depends on preference and engagement. If they're not engaging with the world, they're not going to find much. But if they do engage with it, they will have too much to do. And so, I enjoy it a lot. I like to DM. I like to play. It just depends on how things are going and who's at the table. Because some people are fun because they roleplay, others, not so much. And nothing against people who don't roleplay when playing D&D, but I'm also just going to be straight up and say I find you as a boring player at the table if you don't. You don't have to roleplay. That's not a rule. But if you're not role-playing and you're only here for combat, I'm not going to consider your character during cutscenes and important like story conversations. You know? But I'll hop off that soapbox just because you play how you want to play. That's how games are designed and made. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to play, I'm just saying there's a way I enjoy and a way I find boring. But yeah, right now, as I'm building these minis, I realized I want to have another crack at making a alchemist again. And so I'm looking at either using this guy or this guy as a alchemist. Because with this guy, I cut off his hand and attached a chain so that you can throw his poison orbs more effectively. Essentially meaning if I roleplay, I've got one hand, which would be very fun to use on the table. This guy, I'm gonna give him the poisoner feat, so that way whenever he attacks with a sword, as the green inlay I made so that it looks like there's poison in it, he's got poison with him wherever he goes. It all just depends on how things turn out. But that's kind of what I was looking at for a new character I want to build one time. However, that depends on when we finish our campaigns. Because right now, I have a Tabaxi bard that I've been playing. And I like playing Talia a lot. But we're also 2 out of 3 books through the campaign. We're on the last one. So there's a chance that I might not be playing Talia that much longer. And I do like Talia. I think it's fun to play the Tabaxi bard. But that's just because I like playing bards as characters. I think they're just fun. But again, bards are roleplay focused characters. And the current campaign I'm running Talia in, it's fun, but it's more combat and exploration focused than it is roleplay with other characters focused. And so, although I like playing Talia, I don't really get to roleplay and interact with NPCs as much because there aren't a lot of NPCs. And so, the next D&D character I play, I have it narrowed down to a few of them. I've got Miriam Softwall, who is a cleric that I multi-classed into Barbarian, so that way I don't have to wear armor, I just have natural AC. And so I can just have her be a cleric in robes, which I thought was really fun. I've got Nibbles the Toe Fiend, who is a goblin paladin who is so dumb that she passed only because she has a high charisma stat. She was the mascot of the monastery that adopted her, but her intelligence and wisdom were both her dump stats. And so, even though you get advantage with a lot of saving throws as a paladin, because it's like a 6 and a 5 for intelligence and wisdom, I'm not gonna do well with Nibbles against magic foes. Yeah, Nibbles is not a optimized character. I made a joke character because I thought it was funny. It's a little goblin orphan who was adopted by a monastery. They raised her to do what was right, and she decided to become a paladin to help people. However, she's dumb. She is very dumb. So she will do what is right, but if you're smart enough to explain it as, oh, this is actually a good thing, she will let you get away with some absolute horseshit that you shouldn't be able to. So it's a very flexible paladin, because she's just dumb. So I'm excited to play her. And then if I don't knock those two out, then the next one is going to be the rat alchemist that I named Cheese Thief. Because I am unoriginal and thought the name Cheese Thief from Redwall was hilarious. But yeah, so far, that's the lineup of characters I want to play next. I have ideas for others I could play, but so far, it just depends on what we get into next. Though I will say I do enjoy the fact that my character building in D&D has only gotten more unhinged the longer I've played. Because my first character was a decently optimized rogue. Now we have paladin with dump stats on their saving throws, just because it would be funny. And a literal rat who is crazy and evil that he doesn't remember, but because he's an idiot, he doesn't label his potion bottles. So if I hand somebody in my party a healing potion, well, it might be a healing potion, or I roll badly and just hand them a poison, and they drink it, and then I have to fix that. Because I think that would just be funny as a mechanic. Oh, hey, it's the guy who buffs everybody, but he doesn't label his bottles. So, have fun. We're running the roulette wheel on that guy. But yeah, I'm going to be excited to bring him out. Oh yeah? What kind of character did you make, man? That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, so we got a dwarf. Based, always a good character. Like, always a good race, always a good character. What kind of class are you running with him? Cleric? Okay, yeah, that's a honestly, Cleric is one of the better classes to play. Yes, it's support, but it's also support that has hands. Clerics are just fun characters to play. And let's be real. For people who've played D&D, they know any cleric is a phenomenal character to have during any campaign. Clerics can kill just about anything, but they can also heal the entire party at the same time. They are a phenomenal class. It can be a little complicated, but at the same time, it's not nearly as complicated as like Wizard or Warlock. It's a very versatile class, and so you can really just build it to be whatever you want. And I enjoy it. I like playing the Holy Man. The Holy Man is fun. Cleric, I will say, when playing with a cleric, if they really lean into the religious aspect of it, especially if it's within the setting, it's a very fun character to interact and roleplay with. Because they're not necessarily built as roleplay NPCs, but they can easily get some of the best interactions between them and NPCs. They're just a very fun class, and I enjoy them a lot. And if you have a cleric that just happens to have a few quirks that are hand-picked and hand-tailored, even better. And since you're playing a dwarf, I know all too well, you easily gave him some good quirks. Every dwarf player I know is the opposite of boring. They always have something fun whenever they make a character. Now, elf players, those people, those are the ones I leer at. Not that elf is a bad race. It's a very good, well-designed race. But the majority of elf players are either... There's two kinds of elf players that I've found when I'm at a table. You've got the elf player who is... Let's see. You have the elf player who is calm, quiet, dogmatic. They don't really engage with anything because they're above everybody else. And so you just have to deal with the strong, silent type emo twink that's always with you. Or you get the batshit insanity that comes with, oh hey, what's going on over there? Like, elf players are just volatile. There's a handful of elf players who really build a character that's fun and that is actually like well built up that it's funny to see how they interact with the world. And then you have people who just play an elf and they just don't interact with anything. So if I wasn't already racist against the knife ears, I absolutely would if it was D&D. However, I've always been on the side of the dwarves, so call me biased if you must, but at least I'm honest. He speaks Dwarvish and Common Sign Language. Okay, that's a good setup. I can see that being very interesting in roleplay scenarios. That can be very fun. Especially if the other party does not speak Common Sign Language, it's just Common. Okay, put that down for a second. I need to clean off my brush so I can go back and redo the wood on that gun. I mean, you might. Or, if it's okay with your DM, you can always just say, hey, he speaks Common Sign Language but not Common. Could I, over the course of the game, slowly learn more Common? You could change it so that your character only speaks a few words in Common, and that slowly but surely, you're able to learn Common during the course of the game. So at first you have to speak in broken sentences, but later you're able to speak in more full sentences. That could easily be something that would work as a role-play mechanic with a lot of the players, but then it also makes your character shine out a little bit because maybe you're the only one who actually passes the check. And then that way, you have to tell the party, oh no, danger's coming, you're the only one who sensed it, but all you can say is, puddle, puddle, instead of tsunami. There's ways to work with it. It depends on who the DM is and who the party is. Because there's definitely ways to work around where it's like, hey, slowly learning a language takes a while. Thank you. My strength in life is I am the idea guy. If you give me a prompt to run with, I can definitely think of something or a handful of things that can work with it. It just depends on what you need me to think about, and we can figure it out. But yeah. Oh man. I knew I was tired, but I did not realize how much. Yeah, of course, man. I am always excited to hear about how people are making characters for D&D. I always like to hear about them. I like to talk about D&D. But that's just because I like character customization and I like to see people's creativity at work. Because when people are actually engaged on the subject and as they work on it, it's a lot more fun to see how it works out. But personally, I think that the more fun I find that the more you put into building a character, the more fun you're going to have with them because you're that much more invested in them. So I always like to hear what people have to say about their characters, so that way I can try and convince them, hey, do this, do that, try this. Just because I want them to have as much fun as possible by coming up with some sort of gimmick. Because having a gimmick is just fun, but being able to work around it or work with it just helps you develop that character into something that you truly want to play for multiple games. Because hell, the character I've played the most is Talia. She is a bard, but due to the fact that she led a failed slave revolt, she is traumatized and constantly getting drunk to drown away her sorrows. Because she's constantly getting drunk, she just has interesting interactions with other people and NPCs. But because I've constantly had her be a mischievous little shit who is constantly getting drunk, it's a lot more fun to play her because she just gets into trouble. She runs around and does things, sometimes to the detriment of the party, but there's just that level of we're doing something, and I find it a lot more fun to do that. So I try to encourage people to find the spark of what encourages you or what will engage you to play that character in more than just a combat scenario. Because, that whole rant of, I don't like people who only play D&D for combat and nothing else. With all that, I always like to see how people create characters, and I like the gimmicks that come with characters. Then I need some green. Okay. However, before I get the green, I'm definitely gonna grab a snack real fast because I forgot how good these were, and I might as well just show you guys what I've been snacking on because it's been slowing my painting process. So you all deserve an explanation. So growing up, damn, our time zones are big differences. Just woke up 30 minutes ago, got to work at 45. Yep. Right now for me it is 8:36 at night. But yeah, I've been snacking on these. I don't know if you guys know what these are, because apparently a lot of people I was talking to don't. Basically, they are, I don't have time to really illustrate it, but they're chocolate covered jelly sticks. Growing up, these are like one of my mother's favorite, but I couldn't find them for the longest time for the past month. I just found them, so I bought 3 boxes. And I'm doing all good, T-Zon. How you doing? We've been working on getting some rats painted up. 1:37 p.m.? Ah, okay. This guy mostly built and painted off stream at a friend's house. But I was experimenting with how I wanted to do some of their stuff. And now that I finished experimenting, I'm just trying to get them all painted up. So, trying to go for a bit of a weathered wood color. And I figured something like a dry beach would be good. So that way it pops a little bit more from all the metallics and the darker colors for the robes. Then I just don't have a good... Thank you, Tizlon. It's just, I don't have a good brown color right now. Like, up until recently, the only brown color I had was a Vallejo mahogany, which works. I like it a lot. Like, for example, I never finished this guy, but the wood color on him is mahogany. And I really liked painting this mini. I just need to re-go over the red, because the red did not go well on the Mimic. But the mahogany looks really good for wood. It's just, I only have one color. So now I have, hold on. I keep putting it somewhere and I keep losing it. Because, aha. I got XV88 from Citadel. That one's been nice. One that I would need to try out is Bugman's Glow. Haven't been able to use it yet. And then I also have some Xandri Dust back here. That stuff's been good for basing because it looks very good as a sand-like color. And since all my minis so far are on a beach or in the water somewhere, having a sand color really has helped a lot, so I've enjoyed that. Then I need to clean off my brush and get some of this into my wet palette. But yeah, no, I was searching for those jelly sticks. Sorry to jump back a little bit, but to the snack thing, I've been searching for those jelly sticks for about a month now because they're my mother's favorite, or were her favorite. I don't know if they still are, but I bought some for her her birthday because I had a cherry, a raspberry, and an orange. I'd never seen the cherry flavor before, so of course I had to get that because cherries are my favorite fruit. But I got a couple people that I'm carpooling with tomorrow, and I want to make sure that some of the people who said they'd never tried that candy before have a chance to try it because I think it's delicious. I also need to make sure I never go back to that store or else I'm going to buy too much of it. Jaffa cake, they're nearly the same, not sticks, but cookies. Look, shut up, bro. Yeah, fair. I probably will have to lock them up. Because the main idea is whenever I buy snacks like this, I want to get it if people say they haven't had them before. And then whatever I have left, I bring them to D&D on Sundays. Just that way, more people can experiment and try them out. So we're going to get, now that the gold's layered out on the scope, I want to get some warp stone for the green on here, just because I want to make it look like there's an actual scope on this thing. Orange, cherry, raspberry. Not sure if there are more flavors, but those are the main ones. Ah. Yeah. I know, I like jelly candies the best. Like, Turkish Delight has always been one that I've enjoyed. I wouldn't sell my family for it, but it's one I definitely enjoy. And in my state, there's a local orchard that makes their own version of it, so of course it's not called Turkish Delight, but it is a jelly candy with powdered sugar over the top of it, with the local fruits and nuts that they make in the state that they sell. And I enjoy it a lot. I need to be very careful. Because I want to leave the metallic gold on the little, like, cinch area here. But I want to get the green on the tube so that way there's a bit more pop to it. I guess if I go too much, I can just dry brush the top. And I should be fine there. Russian jelly candy is really bad. Tastes like nothing. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I will say, though, before everything went to shit in the world, I was looking at moving to Russia for a little bit. So, some lore about myself. A few years ago, I used to live in Mexico. And while I was there, I was a missionary for my church, and part of what I did is I taught English lessons. Oh, yeah, the women there are beautiful. And as I was living in Mexico, I started noticing something. Because throughout my life, I've moved every few years. I've never really stayed in one spot, whether it was due to my choice or family or whatever. I was always moving or on the move somewhere. And no matter where I went in the world, like in the US at least, I kept on meeting people who spoke Russian, English, Spanish, and Japanese. And so while I was living in Mexico, and I was doing some part-time stuff as an English teacher and teaching English, I got the idea, okay, why don't I go to another country and I go as an English teacher? So that way I can get a guaranteed job and I can learn the actual language as time goes on, and I can get to know the culture, and I can spend some time not living at home and just get out of the US a little bit more. Expand my horizons. Well, I was working on my job application, and I was hoping to get out. However, while this was happening, it was 2020, before the pandemic hit. So the pandemic hit, and the world closed off. So of course, my application got thrown out because nobody was going anywhere doing anything. I wasn't able to finish being a missionary for the full time I was supposed to be there because, I was supposed to be there for 2 years. I wasn't able to stay the full 2 years because of the pandemic, and they just said, yeah, all foreign missionaries are getting sent home to their home countries. So I got sent home, and then from there, I just couldn't do my application, and the world closed down. So I spent quite a bit of time just going, okay, I want to leave, and every time I've thought about leaving, I always get pulled in to do something here in the US. So I'm still trying to learn the languages, but I have not been able to leave because I like living in the US. I think it's my favorite country to live in, but I also wanted to get out, learn some more languages, and expand my horizons and see other cultures in the world. So that's definitely something I am missing out on. But who knows? I'm certain that in the future that opportunity might come up for me. If all else fails, I did. But you know what? That's just how life goes. If life went exactly how we planned it, shit wouldn't go down as bad as it does at times. You just gotta adapt, move on, and work with what you got. So, I tried to do my best not to lament the bad luck I've had. Because as much as I'd like to do certain things, sometimes it's better if other things happen. Most of life happens out of my control. I just got to deal with what I can. And deal with the fact that there's a bunch of geese in my ear because I'm hearing them fly outside. But hey, that's just how things go. So, besides, if I moved out of the country, I probably wouldn't have actually started with painting and doing Warhammer, because the whole reason I got started with building and painting models is because I always liked the idea of Warhammer. I just never got into it. However, for Christmas last year, my friend bought me a D&D painting kit, which came with this model, one brush, and a bunch of paints. Painted him. Turns out I had a lot of fun building and painting this guy. So it snowballed from there. It started with more and more D&D minis, and it's now gone from D&D minis to random Etsy minis that I think are just cool, to now full-on Warhammer armies that I'm trying to work on. So it's the natural progression of things. I find cooler and cooler things, dumber and dumber things to spend money on, but overall I've enjoyed it. Life definitely hasn't gone the way I expected it to go, but I'm not against it, because I've made some good friends while I've been here. How's the Avril Centaurine? You know, where did I put her? So, I got her right here. I'm waiting for my other phone to charge, because I want to get pictures of her actual Skater Boy outfit, because there's some plaid, so I need to have like a actual reference photo so I can do the plaid, and I want to do it on her saddle, like on her little saddle, whatchamacallit, saddle blanket. So I want to get the plaid on the saddle blanket, and then I want to get the plaid on her bag as well, so that way I can get that customized. I have not found somebody who's willing to do the 3D model to make it Avril Lavigne as a centaur just yet, but I have been looking. I know there is an art college nearby, and so I'm hoping to talk with somebody from there so I can convince them, hey, I've got a dumb idea. I need your help. Oh, absolutely. Avril Centaurine was such a fun and dumb idea, I can't ignore how much I loved it. So now I want to fully commit to the bit and get that made, just because if I can just bring out a bard named Avril Centaurine just to mess with my players, it would absolutely be funny, and I would absolutely enjoy it. Because that means I get an excuse to bring out some of her acoustic songs that a bard can play. Or if I want to just do a cop-out, I can just have a Warforged bard do the metallic noises and all the modern stuff. So that way it's, oh no, it's the Warforged bard. He knows what he's doing. He's getting this going. It's nothing but shit posting. But I need to commit to the bit. I like Avril Lavigne as a music artist too much to not commit to the one bit I have with her as a joke. I gotta do her justice, man. It's go big or go home here. And I'm going to ensure that I make it. Okay. But yeah, with the Avril Centaurine model, what I wanted to do is I wanted to give her a snapback and have her hold a skateboard. We're not going to justify why a centaur has a skateboard or how she would ride it. I'm just going to give her one just because it's kind of just funny enough to be like, yeah, we don't know how, we don't know why, she just has a board like that. The optics are there. And with time, if as long as I'm talking with you guys, we'll figure out a reason for it to exist. May not be a smart reason, but we'll find a reason. I'm also... I need a... So I tried experimenting earlier. Basically, I gave these guys black eyes and then I used silver as like a highlight. Everything is possible, that is true. But I don't like the black eyes on the rats, so what I want to do with these guys is I'm going to try to give them red eyes. Because I keep hearing in Skaven art and Skaven stuff is, oh yeah, you're going to laugh at one dumb rat until you turn to see the alleyway is full of hundreds of evil red eyes looking at you. So I want to try a red eye. But first, the only good red I have right now is Mephiston red. Yeah, you got me there. And then there's, I got Blood for the Blood God as a decent red, but I want to get an actual red on there before I start layering. Look, man, I said they were they were great candy. Besides, I haven't had these in like 5 years. It's been a while. I think I can cheat a little here, right? Besides, I've been on a diet for a while. I've lost a lot of weight. I think I'm allowed to have just a little bit of a cheat. At least I hope so. If not, then, oh boy. Stomachs aren't built or lost in a day, but I can reset too much progress if I'm not careful. Let's see. Man, I put the better red eye on the slave rat. That's hilarious. Oh, I can barely even see this little guy. Yeah, the red pops out much more. So... all good, T-Zon. Thank you for stopping by, and it's good to see and hear from you again. Take care, man. Hopefully I'll see you later. Yeah. And that scope needs a bit more work. Because right over on this side, it's not as green. Okay. We're getting close to done with them. Oh boy. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna take a slight break because the thing that is in the back of my mind that I really want to do is I want to get this guy base so I can paint him. Because I had a lot of fun kit bashing this to have as many bells as possible. That I just want to get him on the base so that way I can just get him painted up. So get a little bit here. I also need to buy more milliput when I get paid, because I am towards the end of my supply, and I got too many minis to base. I can't not get more. For reference, this is the milliput I have left, and I'm about to buy more basing materials because so far all I have is milliput, which is good for basing. But I want to get some better shapes in there. And the rat calls to me. Oh, thinking of which, where did I put those bases for him? I know there they are, okay. Oh, and there's the knife, that helps. Okay. This one I can grab. I might as well get that guy based as well. Got enough milliput to do too. Okay, but what I'm thinking is I'm going to give this guy a bit of a slope, so that way he's walking up a slope, and so the banner's a bit more straight up. At least that's the idea. Okay, gonna push that in a tad more. There we go. Because I'm thinking, have him walk up so the banner's a bit more upright, but I want to make sure that the base isn't completely connected to the bells. Okay. Oh boy. So, at this point, I'm pretty sure the first complete army for Warhammer I'm gonna have is Skaven, because I keep finding excuses and ways to bring him into D&D that now I've got my party getting ready to go fight a horde of Skaven. I wasn't expecting it to be that, but I rolled a D100, and the item that came up is that they looted a far squeaker. And because the charisma character looted the far squeaker, they ended up hearing and listening to chatter. So there we go. I'm just going to say this is the bell rat, and then the flail rat. But been having a lot of fun kit bashing and building this box. Why not? I'm just surprised more than anything else. Because, you know, I started with building... Hold on. I started with building Space Marines for Dark Krakens. Freehanding the design, getting the paint on, getting everything good. And I liked them a lot. I had a lot of fun building them. But the fact of the matter is I get to experiment and do more on my tabletop stuff as a DM with Skaven for a fantasy setting. I can't really bring this into a fantasy setting. At least, not for typical D&D stuff. So I kind of... Just having the fact that the Skaven are the perfect excuse to bring Warhammer into D&D just kind of lines up with what I wanted and needed. And so now I'm buying... I've got my mind at some Rat Ogres, a couple of Doom Wheels. Or it's not the Doom Wheel, is it the Doom Roller? Warforged? I mean... Technically, yeah. I might be able to get away with saying, like, these are religious Warforged. But I just feel bad putting my party against this. They're in the Wild West. I would essentially just be bringing a gun against Genghis Khan. I would just feel bad. You know? I want to keep things balanced. And the Skaven are balanced enough because technically I only had 2 models. My friend had a model that was unpainted and I had this model that I hadn't finished painting either. And all I did was I had a total of 6 of these on a ridge, but I rolled after they fired every time for the overcharge effect, which blew up most of them. And so because I do the overcharge effect with the Skaven stuff, I can have the Skaven kill themselves as much as they kill their enemies, which means I can bring in the brutality of the Skaven army against my players in D&D, but I don't have to worry about actually killing my players too bad. You know? So, it works out. Okay. Now I just need my silver. Okay, got that. Where did I leave my... Oh, there it is. Couldn't find my paint rag for a second. I'm like, oh, I need to clean off my brush. Where's my paper towel? Okay. So I liked how the highlights turned out on this guy. Because what I did is I did a layer of the gold, I did a thin silver layer on the top, and then I did a gold above it. And I liked the effect that it gave. So I want just have a thin layer of silver go on top again. Also, I just really like, if I can just grab that paint pot real fast. Where'd I put it now? I really need to organize my paint so I stop doing this. But, aha. I really like this paint because it's metallic, but it kind of has a naturally kind of rusted look to it. That really brings out like more of like a grunge color. I just really like how it turns out, and I think it's kind of my ideal color for like Skaven metallics. So I'm probably going to be a one-trick pony with it, but I just really like how it looks. A little bit more on the side though, because it's not entirely balanced. Hello, how's it going, Silver? Very opportune moment to hop into the chat while I'm using a silver paint. I did not expect that. Oh, you're working on 8-bound. That's exciting. So, if that's the case, I've got a question then. Since you're running World Eaters, are you doing normal World Eaters? Are you doing Blood Gorged? How's that army going? I'm really curious. First box? Ooh, okay. Well, that's exciting. So then what drew you to doing a corn focused box then? Was it the lore or just more of just seemed interesting or more fun to build? Ooh, nice. Okay. Honestly, that's pretty exciting. If I wasn't loyal to the fact that the first Chaos Space Marine box I get, I have to do as my favorite Legion, I would be very tempted to get some World Eaters because I really do I like the simplicity of what they are, but I like how cool a lot of their models look. Ah, gotcha. I didn't realize Combat Patrol had its own dedicated magazine. Huh. Granted, I just don't engage too much with the magazine stuff anymore. I thought it was cool back in the day because my grandparents had me on a subscription to the Lego magazine, and of course, as a kid, I was all in Bionicle. So I absolutely loved being able to get the latest Lego magazine to read the Bionicle comics. I thought that was cool. But I haven't really been interested in actually getting any other like magazine subscriptions for a while. Is the Combat Patrol one any good? Because I'm definitely not against it. I've done it before, but I've never. I don't know. I just haven't seen anything that drew my attention to it. You know. That and also my local area, there's not really a lot of people who play Warhammer, so favorite chaos is Death Guard, and I have Mortarion, a squad of Plague Marines, and Plague Bears on my Spain table. It's hilarious enough that you mentioned that. The third box I bought was the Plague Monks, the Skaven Plague Monks, and I've been building up a little army of them. I just started last night. Mostly with kit bashing as many bells onto this guy as I could, because I thought it'd be funny to have a bell ringer. No, my favorite Chaos Legion is the Iron Warriors. I've been an Iron Warrior fanboy for a long time. You love the magazine? Okay, that's good. I'll have to look into it then. Because I'm definitely not opposed to getting a good hobby magazine. Just more of. I just want to find one that I actually hear some reviews on before I actually commit to the bit, you know? Ah, okay. Armies on Parade. I can't say I know that off the top of my head. Is that one of the more historical war games? Thank you, Don. Thank you. Mostly just trying to get... So I did a lot of edge highlighting with the silver, and then I did a layer of the gold on top of it on this guy. I'm trying to replicate that onto this guy again. It's definitely going to take me a little bit, but I am getting close to done. I also think I got some paint. Yeah, I got some... I've had the silver paint drying up and clumping on the edge of my brush. That explains it now. I mean, maybe so, but I also spent years trying to learn how to draw, and so black and white drawings were always kind of my thing back in the day. I just liked being able to sit down, do very little, listen to music, and just draw as a way to relax. Now I've got this, which is a little bit more... It's a bit more engaging for my brain, and so I enjoy it a lot. But I'm also just somebody who likes to hyper focus on details, so I have a lot of fun with just being able to go, okay, how do I do this better? How do I make this pop a bit more in a way that I like? It's a painting competition put on by Games Workshop for complete armies. Oh, okay. Huh. That's exciting. Well, I wish you luck on that, man. That's awesome. Once I actually get better, I should probably try to actually get some of my stuff on that then. Because I was looking at trying to find some people who do like painting competitions to try and apply. Oh, hey, Killer, what's up? Oh, I've been all right. A little tired. Work's been getting me, has been taking up a lot of my time, but overall, just having a good night tonight. Been having a lot of fun, buying a lot of Skaven, and throwing said Skaven at my D&D party because I am evil and think rats with guns is funny. Especially because said D&D setting is in the, we're still in the Wild West campaign. So, I can get away with it. But yeah, overall been good. Just trying to get these done because I am nearing completion and I'm really excited because I have not been able to do a whole lot. Yeah. I'm also about to go to a barn dance tomorrow because I got invited to a barn dance up north from where I'm at. So I got a carpool together, so tomorrow we're just going to head out, see how that goes. I've got no idea if it's going to be good or bad, but I'm hopeful. And if there's anywhere where I can practice my West Coast swing dance stuff, it's probably going to be out there. I hope. But yeah, what have you been up to, man? Yeah. So with the church that I'm a part of, I am in the young single adult branch for stuff. And so occasionally we throw dances just to have other adults mingle and talk to each other. I have 8 weeks to paint 32 miniatures to completion level, to competition level. I mean, depending on how crazy life is, 8 weeks can either be enough time or not enough. So I wish you luck on that, man. 8 weeks that's a commitment right there. But a good one, though. But yeah, sorry, jumping back. Yeah. So for the dance stuff, I'm excited. So hopefully I can meet people my age and talk with actual adults just because, you know, I'm in my mid 20s. I'd like to meet other people in their mid 20s, form some new friendships, see how things are. Maybe go on a date, but that's probably wishing too or hoping for too much. I mean, it's definitely a lot of painting, but I've got faith he can do it. If he's already got Mortarion, I think he knows how to paint. Because I don't know about most people, but if I was considering getting a Primarch, gosh dang, Mortarion is the scariest of them all because that is such a. To me, that looks like such a high skill ceiling to paint him well. Because Mortarion's got some phenomenal detail. But again, he's got phenomenal detail. I mean, that is true, Killer. That is true. All it takes is one girl. However, again, where I'm going is an hour 40 north, according to GPS. So about 45 minutes if I drive like normal. So it's not too far north. It's just more of it's gonna be, yeah, just gotta get things done, gotta get things moving. And if I have enough money, maybe I can make it work. If I'm lucky, maybe she's local. If not, it's gonna be a little hard to meet up consistently, you know? I'm retired and paint every day, so I'll make the deadline. Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting then. But yeah, then, yeah, you got time. I mean, sure, it's going to take a while, but I'm excited. Ta-da. Bit more thicker up here. Well, yeah, and the least you could have a new friend. Oh, yeah, for sure. It all just depends on how it all goes. I'm trying not to think about it too much, because I just haven't been to a dance in about a year or so. So I'm hoping it all goes well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm carpooling with some friends, so I know it'll be a fun time. Just how fun depends on if the dance is interesting or not. Thank you. Trying to just get the silver on everything here. I've got 80 hours of painting on Mortarion and need to spend 160 more hours on him. Oh, that sounds about right. Honestly, I don't like, I'm not the biggest Death Guard fan. I think the Death Guard are cool, don't get me wrong. But Mortarion is easily the coolest thing that I've seen from the Death Guard. I like him a lot. He's just got such good design. Like, Mortarion easily has the best design of any of the Primarchs for tabletop, and just in general for art in the lore. Like, I really hope we get a Loyalist Primarch that can kind of rival him on a cool factor. Because the Moth Prince with the flesh wings easily tops, like, the best model. Because Gilliman is fine. The Lion, I think, is better than Gilliman by quite a bit. But there's just nothing that draws me to either of them, you know? Angeron, he's not my favorite. I like his lore more than I like his current look, if that makes sense. Angeron's story, beautiful, love it. I love everything about it. A Ghost Will Have to Do is probably one of my favorite lines in all of 40k. I'm gonna scroll in and out, but I'm glad to see you on. All right. All good, Killer. Take care, man. I'll see you whenever I see you next. But as far as Primarchs go, Mortarion just kind of outclasses everybody by a lot. Magnus is okay if you don't mind the nipple horns. It's not bad, but it's definitely not my first pick if I was going to go for anything. I don't know. I just kind of want a Loyalist Primarch that just has more going for him. Which, I love the Lion of him. Well, that's good. Because I like the Lion more than Gilliman, because the Lion just... I mean, yes, I know Gilliman was in stasis, the Lion was just asleep for the 10,000 years. But the Lion being older, his new look just works well. It also kind of reminds me of, what's his name? Christopher Lee. The Lion just looks like Christopher Lee, but in 40k. And I think that does so much for his look. But I just don't see much interest in Gilliman. Again, Gilliman is not a bad model. I'm not saying he's bad, I just don't find anything about his model that interesting. But the Lion definitely has a lot more going for him. I don't know. If a Loyalist Primarch were to return, I would want... Like, if another one is returning, I kind of want Jagatai Khan. Just because he kind of would be the one who would look the best as just a regular-ass human. Because if Corvus Corax comes back, we're getting the Monster Crow, which I think will be the coolest of the Loyalist Primarchs. But you're also just going to have the, oh yeah, that's definitely not what he looked like before. Though I will say, I kind of... I don't necessarily like the idea of more Russ is dead. It's a definite possibility. Like, I'm not caught up on all the lore, so I don't know if something new dropped that just outright says he's dead. But gosh dang, I feel like Russ would be interesting, but also he has that whole thing of it, when I return, the end times are here. Prophecy with his sons. And I don't necessarily think Games Workshop should do the end times stuff for 40k. Not because I don't want the story to progress, but more of just... I just don't... I don't know. Just doesn't strike me as a good time to bring Russ back if he's ever coming back. The Khan, I think, would be really good. Korax would be probably the best, in my opinion. Vulcan, everybody would love to have him back. But honestly, I kind of... With how this setting is right now, I really want Lorgar to start doing something. The reason why I kind of want Lorgar to do literally anything right now is because, yes, he's getting harassed by the Crow, but I feel like he's the only Primarch who would really crusade against the Imperium that wouldn't be a meme. And I say that because I just don't find Abaddon that intimidating now that we have Primarchs back. Yes, Abaddon has Chaos shenanigans, so he's technically stronger than the average, than like most Space Marines. But he's still a Space Marine. He was second in command to Horus. And now that we have Primarchs back, I don't find the idea of Abaddon that intimidating. Just because the universe is kind of ramping up, and I feel like it's just going to leave him in the dust. Again, he's not bad. He's just not as good. It just feels underwhelming that the guy leading the Chaos faction in the crusade against the Imperium is just a Space Marine that's corrupted by... That's not even corrupted by Chaos, really, because he's not taking the gifts. It's just a Space Marine who is dedicated to Horus and his ideas. It's not bad, it just feels underwhelming considering literally the rest of the galaxy right now. And as much as I love Perturabo, I don't know if Perturabo going on a crusade against the Imperium would really work. It just wouldn't make the most sense for him to do it. And again, I love Perturabo. I would love to have him back. But what would he do? Granted, he would do quite a bit of damage if he was mad about something. But unless they write in a lore reason why Perturabo's coming back to attack and kill the Imperium, it just doesn't make sense for his character to do anything. Codex has Wolfen. They came from the warp, and the Codex did have Russ and Game Workshop. Could have a great chance to make a super miniature. Honestly, Wolfen Russ, I think, would be really good. That would absolutely be a baller model if Games Workshop actually went with that. Because I like the Wolfen from the Space Wolves. I'm not the biggest Space Wolf faction guy, but I think the Wolfen are just cool. It's that so absurd it loops back to being cool kind of deal for me. So I like the Wolfen a lot. As far as Space Wolves go, I like the idea of the Wolfen. I think that the Space Wolves should get a little bit of love in the story, just so we can get some Wolfen characters kind of going out and tearing up something in the Imperium that the Inquisition has to look their way a bit. Not because I want the Inquisition to kill them, but I think it'd just be interesting. New siege engines. Really? Huh. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I like 30. I like 40K. I want to like 30K, but I want to be a little a bit more hesitant because I almost bought a box of the Saturnine Terminators because I like the Saturnine armor. I liked the giant shoulders, and I was really excited to see how that worked. And also, of course, it was Salamanders versus Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors is my favorite faction, and I'm building a Salamander successor chapter as my first Space Marine army. So, of course, I liked all of that. But with the recalls and the bad designs on them, I think I'm just going to wait until for when they bring out the second wave. Because I definitely want some Saturnine armor. But I don't know if that's something I'd commit to just yet. Then I need to get a little bit of brown around his eye, because I don't know if I like the glowing red eye on him. So I think I'm gonna try and get a thin bit of paint here. Really thin it down. But yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna have to call it good there because I don't know if I can keep my eyes open any longer. But thank you guys for hanging out. If Per Trouble were made into 40K Ministry, we get new siege engines. Yeah. I'd really like to see how the new siege engines go with Chaos. I also just want to see if we could get, because not necessarily like this, but if we could get like just giant mechanical stuff like this, but maybe just Hell Brutes but a bit more mechanical, or some new Obliterator models, I would really like those for Chaos. Because I like the Obliterator lore, I just don't like too many of the Obliterator models personally. I kind of want to make them more inhuman, but that'll be a rant for another time. But thank you guys for hanging out with me, for talking, and for just listening to me as I rant while I paint. I will see you guys whenever I see you next, but I'm just going to have to call it there. My phone's about to die, and I do need to get some sleep so I can get ready for the dance tomorrow. But thank you again for stopping by, and I hope all of you have a good night. Take care now.